Pullze Check podcast. Today's podcast is going to be a good one. It's going to be juicy. But before we get into it, obviously we got to introduce all the guests. We got my boy JGOD, we got my boy Aydan, and we got my boy Huskerrs. Guys, how are we feeling today?
Fantastic.
What are you doing at?
Aydan, you're so handsome, bro. You're so cute, man. Oh,
Dude,
man.
I feel like shit right now. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I feel like y'all look good. It's making me insecure right now.
Dude,
Like,
you're so handsome, bro. Stop, bro. Look, so let's talk about it. It's not a secret anymore. We are now allowed to say this. All four of us got invited last week to go play Modern Warfare 3 early. Guys, how do y'all feel right now? Based off now being able to talk about it, talk to me how y'all feeling. JGOD, go ahead and go first.
I talked a little bit about with stream a little bit where like I didn't have a ton of interest in playing the current version of the game.
Huh?
Right. But now that I've played the other one, I have like no interest in playing the current version of the game. So I don't know how else to say that. But yeah, that's basically what it was. I logged on and did the event, which I thought the event was cool. Like it's probably a top 5 event. Okay. If you haven't tried it, I would just say run through it. It's definitely better than some of the events we had in Verdansk and Caldera, but that's a side note. But yeah, I'm hyped now that we can actually talk about it. Because a lot of things it was just like, okay, they leaked that. I know that's true and cool, but I can't say anything. But now, yeah, we can interact with discussion.
I
It's
know.
nice.
Hey, talk to me.
No, dude, right what he just said. I saw so many things posted on Twitter. It was like, man, I wish I could talk about that. Gotta pretend like I don't know nothing about it. But yeah, kind of what he said, like about what he said. I'm super like I'm just hyped in general after playing, and yeah, I'm so over this. If it wasn't for World Series right now, I'd be lottie doing, just waiting until the next one.
After you've already playing Apex a lot.
Oh, I'm playing Apex. I was off stream playing World of Warcraft. Like I'm just down bad right now, bro. I got World Series. That's what's keeping me locked right now.
World Series of Warzone?
Yeah.
Huskerrs, talk to me. How do you feel, Pops?
Yeah, I mean, I feel well. So I don't know what I can and can't say. Like after playing it, yeah, I feel great. Like I'm very excited for the things to come. Lot of good changes. A lot of it's I don't know. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but it definitely feels like a 180 from what we're playing right now, but in a good way.
Yeah,
So.
I think we can all agree on that, and I don't think that's leaking anything. I get so here. Let's set everybody's expectations for those of y'all watching on YouTube, those of y'all in our streams right now. We pretty much got to the event and we got into like this big room, like of 150 like whatever seats and stuff like that, and they presented us with a presentation. We technically are only allowed to talk about the presentation and everything from that presentation. We did play the game. All of us play tested the game, but we cannot get into specifics about playtesting the game. And the reason being is because for all we know, last year we had the beta, which arguably was, I'm not gonna say it was great. The beta was okay. It was all right. And then the game came out, the actual game came out, and it was way worse than the beta. That's last year. It was, yeah. And so, you know, they want to manage all of y'all's expectations going into this time, so we don't say, oh, for example, like, oh, like we praise the game, we hype it, and then when the beta comes out, it's ass. We don't like. That's why they don't want us to. So we can only talk about how the PowerPoint going forward. So just to manage everybody's expectations.
Like things can and will change from when we play tested it last week to the beta. So,
Yeah. And I think there's some concern with that too, because of how the beta was handled with MWIII towards the final release, where we said, oh, you know what? It's not so bad. We found a way to slide cancel, even though it wasn't practical. And then like there was some other advanced movement, like a bunny hop. They never claimed that those were features for MWIII. They never claimed any of that. As soon as people got hyped about that, then they changed it. And then everyone was like, well, they ruined it, which I think they did. But in this case, all those things that they're talking about, they're mentioning those as features. And it's not like they could just go, oh, you know what? We lied in our marketing. Like they can't do that.
Yeah.
All the stuff they removed from MW2, they never hyped any of those features that got removed.
Yeah, you're talking about like bunny hopping, slide canceling. Like that was never a marketing.
Yeah,
correct.
They never explicitly said this is going to be in the game. So
yeah.
That's I guess where the discrepancy was.
So all right, let's get into the things that everything that they described. Do you guys want to go through everything, boys, or do y'all want to start off and go through strictly movement? Because I know that's what everybody's here for. Everybody's here for the movement. I mean, I'm down for whatever. Again,
you can't give them the goods right away. We gotta make them a little bit.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Zombies, multiplayer, then movement after. So let's start with zombies. Zombies is one of the big things that they pretty much one of the bigger things, right, that they discussed during that. JGOD, I feel like you kind of know a little bit more than all of us, or no?
Yeah, I just wish that we would have like seen a trailer or gameplay or screenshots or something. All we saw was an overhead view of a blurry map with red on it.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that's like all we saw.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like hard to give perspective. I know that it was teased as an outbreak style mode, which I think it's gonna counteract that. I've been like, even at the event, I was calling it DM Zombies. And that's that's not a marketing thing. That's nothing on their end. I think it's going to feel like DMZ based off the description with zombies. Yeah. And then there's going to be a 1 hour, it's going to be like an extraction shooter. So they've kind of like made a twist on the extraction genre again, because maybe DMZ wasn't as popular. I don't know. We don't have analytics.
I thought it was very interesting how they said the length of like one game is going to be like 50 or 60 minutes.
1
right?
hour. Yeah, 1 hour.
Yeah.
That's I
like
kind of like that.
Right?
How long is DMZ?
DMZ is typically 30 minutes or so, and then the zone starts to expand, and depending on which side of the map the little expanding thing is on, that'll determine how much time you have. Sometimes it's 7 minutes, sometimes it's 10-ish. So all in all, you can get around a 40 maybe 2-minute match in DMZ. The only way it can go longer is if you end up going to the Koshai complex, and then I think it's another 40 minutes there. So you could actually do like 80 minutes in DMZ in one session if you min-maxed it. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere around there.
All right. I mean, Aydan, have you ever been a zombies guy or nah, never?
No, I love zombies. I used to play it when it was like round based. Like, I'd be sitting there doing glitches where the zombies couldn't hit me at level 70. I tell all the kids in school I got to round 70. I love zombies personally. So it's definitely something I want to check out. With what the info we were given, it seems kind of cool. But again, if it's similar to DMZ, I don't know how much interest I'll have in that.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's different is obviously you played MMOs. So like world bosses and stuff like that. Yeah. I think there's a huge opportunity for that in the game if they had these really rare, hard like world bosses where maybe you did a specific task and then there's 24 people in the lobby and they could make this thing really challenging because everyone's all like, oh, cool, world boss is spawning. And everyone would be like, what the hell is that? They could like, they didn't mention anything of that. So I don't think that's the case, but I think that it does leave room for those types of things when you do have so many players in a PvE environment.
I think one thing too that they should capitalize on is unlocking stuff in zombies that you can use in Warzone multiplayer, make it fluid, make it so like when we play DMZ in the raid the raid, like just like moving camo, like everyone was doing the raid. I think it was a great way to get people involved in it, and I had a lot of fun when I did it. So I hope when zombies comes out, there's some cool unlockables that you can only get from zombies, but that you can use in the other stuff. So I hope they capitalize on that.
I mean, I honestly, I've given them the feedback that like if they want us to play other game modes, like for example, the raid. It's funny because I said this, like they asked me, one of the devs was like, "Oh, yo, what would make you want to play the raid?" And I was like, "Nothing. That's boring." And I was like, "Wait." I was like, if you give us a cool camo, I'll play the raid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, sure enough, 6-7 months later, they gave us a camo for the raid. So like, if they want us to play zombies, they want us to do this stuff, give us cool rewards for doing that. And I could see a lot of the people doing that, like a lot of people playing it. Again, so the way it's going to kind of work out, the way that they kind of described it was you're going to land on the outskirts of the map. And then
spawn.
Spawn. Yeah. You're going to spawn on the outskirts of the map, and then you're going to travel in. The further in that you go, the crazier the zombies are, the stronger they are. And I'm assuming, I would hope that they're like really strong if it's an hour long. And then from what it sounded like is you're not supposed to be able to just go straight to the middle and that's it. Like you're gonna die. Like you have to go in, make it like halfway, then exfil, keep your shit. Like you're supposed to plan ahead. Like it's not supposed to be that easy. At least from
supposed to be progressive, where it should take multiple attempts. I think that's one of the parts where I saw a lot of people ranting like, oh, 1 hour, F that. Like imagine like you're continuing a zombies run for infinity pretty much. Like there's no end. Because literally you go and then if you die, then you restart back at the outer edge and you got to slowly move your way back in.
Yeah.
I think one thing they added was like, I think schematics. You can get those either through rewards or crafting, and then you could craft items, which is kind of an element that was missing from DMZ, like the economy
Crafting
system
shit.
with that. Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like I don't know, obviously like an RPG game. That's what like the vibe it gave me. It's like a zombies RPG game that you can level up, you can get different equipment and stuff like that. So I mean, I say I won't play it, but again, if it's fun, I'll play it, and if they give us rewards, I'll definitely play it. Aydan Huskerrs, you guys played? Do you guys play zombies at all or not really?
Well, Aydan does, but
So
Like, go ahead, Husk.
yeah, I played a bunch of zombies like way back in the day when everyone did, you know, like World at War. I played a lot of those, but I haven't really played zombies like in any of the newer CODs in the last 3 or 4 years. Like I didn't really play zombies in Black Ops 4 or anything. So I know it's like way different from zombies back then, but and so yeah, again, like Aydan said, I'm not sure. Like I'll definitely try it out, obviously. But I'm not sure how much I'm gonna enjoy it because like my mindset might be thinking of the zombies way back in the day, but I know this one's gonna be way different. But like you were saying, I think the key here is for people that aren't even into zombies, like if they want to try to get everyone to play it, the key is definitely kind of integrating all of these different Call of Duty modes together to where like you said, if if a person typically plays Warzone, like if they play zombies, they can unlock like a super sick camo that they can use in Warzone or any of the other modes.
I would say this because, bro, you know that they did this to us. I think during Caldera, they gave us the camo. Like it was a crazy hard to get those camos for what's it called? Like insanely hard for zombies to get like the top tier
and stuff, or the
no, like the
Aether.
Yeah. And then you couldn't even use them in like the whole year you went when you couldn't even use them in Warzone. So
in Warzone, yeah.
I hope that going forward, any type of camos, it's cross progression and like you can use it in anything. If you can use it in zombies, you can use it in Warzone and vice versa. Like that's how they're gonna bring the quote unquote casuals or anybody who doesn't play their game mode to go play the other stuff. But
I want to give them. I want to give them props too for trying new stuff because the round based like normal zombies did. I mean, it's pretty repetitive, and I've gone back and like played Black Ops 2 zombies, for example, and like went for high rounds, and then like come round 20, 30, I'm like, damn, this is boring, bro. I gotta sit here and do this forever. Like it is pretty repetitive.
Yeah.
So it's not easy for these type of changes, for them to do new stuff like this. It's very risky, I guess you could say. So I give them props. I'm always down to try something new. So I'll definitely give it a shot.
I think it's also good, especially with the Easter eggs. There's probably like right now when the new maps drop with Easter eggs, not really with Vanguard, but in general, most people like that have done Easter eggs for all of them. They already kind of can have an idea of what you're supposed to do. They almost made it too easy, I think, in some instances, because they repeated certain concepts where, oh, you have to do this or grab this. So I think having the full map and a potential of Easter eggs is even crazier in the sense that like there is a lot of opportunity to do X, Y, and Z, and the community is probably going to be like, it's going to take a long time to figure that out versus here's this tiny map with, it's basically shipment and you got to find these 5 things.
I think it's going to be right in the middle. I can see this literally people hating this and this being like the worst change that could have happened. But then I can also see people being like this blowing up and being like insane for content. Again, I don't know. I'm going to wait and see. I've never been a zombies guy, but we'll wait and see.
I just hope it's hard. I think that's one of the things that the DMZ isn't necessarily hard in a group. It's just not. But like if it's hard, it could be punishing. Like those like high round zombies where they could just like basically they're full on sprinting. I can't remember what the hell they're called. They're specific ones, but
I was thinking the same thing because from what we heard, the more center you get, the harder it gets. I hope the zombies in the center are really hard, or they're super fast, or they have some cool abilities that you got to think about, and they're like, shit, I gotta like dodge this or something like that. that's my hopes too. Yeah, it's actually challenging. I'm not going in there knowing 100%. I'm just gonna just get through it and get out and be chilling.
Yeah,
So.
that makes me think of like WoW bosses. Like
Yeah,
when you're in the WoW raids, like the bosses, like they have all these abilities that you have to like memorize their abilities and like know when they're about to do it, and like where that if they shoot something out and you like literally have to move and dodge it, like incorporating that kind of stuff, I think would be really cool.
I mean, it's Treyarch, right? Like, is Treyarch working on it? I would assume.
You never know.
Yeah, you're right. I want to. Yeah, I mean, let's manage expectations. But again, we've never had something like this, right? Like this type of zombies before. This is completely different than what anything they've ever done, right?
Yeah, because it's not like Outbreak, and it's not round based. So yeah, it's different.
Okay. Well, I think to those people who grind zombies, it's probably gonna be a little bit of an adjustment. But I guess we'll have to figure out and wait till it comes out. But again, I know we're not really zombies guys. So yeah. But moving forward, boys, let's talk about multiplayer. All right, this is something that I definitely going into this. I mean, I'm gonna say this right now. Going into this whole entire trip, I didn't even expect anything. Like I expected the worst, if I'm being honest. I expected to go in there and to leave and be like, damn, like rocked.
Like a repeat of MW2 kind
last
of
year,
like after we played. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I have it on camera for vlogging the Warzone 2 the next event, and we're all like damn.
We were speechless. We wanted to be nice. We were trying to be as nice as possible, but we were down. We were pretty down.
The environment after that was definitely like, fuck, like we got to brace ourselves for a bad year. But I would say this, like the actual event was fucking sick. The game was bad, but the actual like event was super cool. But I think we were all like, damn. I mean, it's funny. They asked him, one of the devs asked him, what do you think about it? Like, tell me. And D goes, chalked. I was like, yo, this guy. I was like, this guy's ruthless, bro. He's ruthless. But yeah, so JGOD, do you want to kind of take the floor for multiplayer? I'm really excited about this, and I think even for me, who I love CDL, I'm really excited to even watch CDL now. And I think it's gonna be insane. So I mean, JGOD, do you kind of want to take the floor?
Yeah, sure. So it's gonna launch with the 20 maps, which are the 16 original OG Modern Warfare 2 map from 2009. Which basically 14 years ago. Yeah. So a lot of people either weren't playing COD or they were very little. There was obviously a lot of people that still played back from then. So I think a lot of these are also, it's the first time they're being remastered. Obviously we had Rust and what was the other one? Scrapyard. Yeah, we had those in MW 2019, but like the vast majority of these maps haven't been touched or seen in ages. And then there's 3 ground war maps, which I imagine we didn't see those because like they've done with the previous ones, they literally look exactly like parts of the Warzone map. So I don't think they want to reveal if that's the case. But so we have no clue what those look like. And then there's one war map, which is similar to the mode that we had in World War II with whatever twist.
Yeah, I don't remember war. I don't remember what that is.
I never played it. Yeah.
So War, it was specific where there was multiple objectives. It was almost like that Battlefield mode, Conquest. I think it's called Conquest, where you move down the line, and then as soon as your team moves up to that point or completes the objective, then it unlocks another portion of the map, and you keep moving down.
Oh, that was
sick. If you make it all the way to the end, then your team wins. If you get stopped, then obviously you lose.
It's like a huge like long map. And then like you're only allowed like a certain section of the map as you destroy the bases, and it keeps going. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, they also had something similar in Caldera. I don't remember what that one was too, where you had to like walk with the train or whatever it was, or not the train, but the
like payload,
the car.
like the Overwatch
payload,
road.
like that. Yeah, like that. It's exactly kind of like that, but not. But obviously, it's more linear one scale.
It's like different objectives.
And in the mode, it also had like no kill streaks, score streaks, none of that stuff. So it was literally just gun on gun for the objective.
Oh, it's called Rush in Battlefield, apparently.
Rush. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
That's right.
There you go. So then now that's cool, but I think everybody's fucking hyped about the next couple things. So we'll really quick, let's cover each one, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about each one, right? So we got 150 base health. Insane.
Yep.
Dead silence perk. Insane. We've been asking for it forever.
Yep.
Red dots on the mini map. And then what's the last one I'm missing? Map voting. Map voting.
Yep.
So let's go through each one. Let's what did I say first? What was it?
Maybe the health.
The health. 150 base health.
Yeah.
Tell me, Aydan, what you think?
So 150 base health. This is only in multi. I mean, I can only imagine it's good with all the other things we've heard about movement and stuff. I think with, a lot more movement, having more health is, I mean, that's just increasing the skill gap like insanely. So I feel like in MW2 right now, you like, it's like, it's so one dimensional. Like you're just pre-aiming, you shoot someone 3 times, they're dead type deal. I think the 150 health is definitely just gonna, you're gonna be able to, slide, whatever you got to do to get around a little bit more, give you some more time.
Yeah. I mean, Huskerrs, what you think? 150 base health.
Yeah, no, same thing. I mean, I obviously I never really competed much in multiplayer COD. Like I played S&D way back in the day, but I mean, I feel like literally for almost every single Call of Duty in the last 10 years, I feel like the TTK just in general in multiplayer has always just been very quick. And obviously that it needs to be somewhat quick, just because of how multiplayer is. Like if multiplayer had the same TTK as like Warzone, if it was like 1,000 millisecond TTK, like it wouldn't really play out well.
Yeah.
But I always thought that like if they up the TTK a little bit in multiplayer, like especially for like competitive COD, like CDL, it would play out a lot better because people wouldn't get incinerated in literally 200 milliseconds, or you couldn't kill people in 2 bullets. And so if it takes an extra 100 milliseconds to kill somebody, it just allows for a greater skill gap, allows people to get out of situations when they normally couldn't because of the really fast TTK. So yeah, I'm super excited to see how that plays out. Obviously the devs could tune the weapons to do more damage. Like,
yeah,
it's possible that we may see the same TTK numbers even though the health is increased. But I don't think that'll be the case. I do think we're going to see a general, at least a slight increase to TTK.
Overall time to kill.
Yeah.
I think the dads are
I like it. I like it in general. I think there's a bunch of good things. Obviously, one of the biggest problems with COD in general, even if you go back to the older ones, is people there's people that will camp. But having a higher TTK allows you to counteract that in some ways. Because if I come around the corner and some guy just was on an off angle where I didn't see, if he starts shooting me, I still have a chance to react and at least get a couple shots in. Even if I don't win the gunfight, at least I feel like I had the chance. And if they choke, then I win the gunfight. So I think it allows to have those dynamics where you still have to stay locked on. Accuracy is key. Even with aim assist, you still got to hit your shots. And not choke when those opportunities happen, So I like that part of it. I think it's easier for them to balance the game. They generally don't, though. They just do the damage and it multiplies out, and it just kind of we get slower TTKs. The interesting thing that they also mentioned in their stuff today was that they're also planning to lower the headshot multiplier. So
nice. They announced that?
That's good for 2 reasons. Yeah. One is because the flinch in game, it will, the flinch will kick the aim up, so people get accidental headshots.
Okay.
So it's like whoever shoots second wins the gunfight in some cases because of the difference. And then it leads to like a more normalized TTK. One of the biggest problems with 2019 was you either had a really good TTK. If you factored out the headshot, the TTKs were amazing in Modern Warfare 2019. But as soon as you got a headshot in the mix, you can get 2 shot by the MP5.
Yeah.
It's like 150 TTK or something crazy stupid. So that's like, you're not even having gunfights. You're just shooting and dying, it's just, so now I think it balances that out. And then it allows you to be valued in other ways with the movement stuff. Obviously, if you can move, then you can make yourself a harder target to hit. And then you get a chance to react to a gunfight. You could rechow. I mean, there's a lot of gameplay balances, but then you could push the needle too far where if you come around the corner, if there's 2 people, well, sometimes that might be harder with higher TTK. Yeah. Because that gives the person a chance to react. So you get trade-offs. I mean, there's a lot of balance, but I prefer 150, I think.
I think for me, the biggest thing, obviously, and I'm going to bring it back, right, is like, I'm kind of excited for what that's going to do for Warzone. Like if we're already talking about 150 base health for multiplayer, when, statistically proven that like the last 3 or 4 years, like multiplayer has been incredibly slow, right? Fast time to kill, like people die in an instant. Like Warzone now, I'm assuming they're going to make that, at least we're not going to go back this year. At least I hope, right? Like right now we're at 150 base health and then whatever the extra 150.
Do you think it's going to be any different? Because like you said, we're currently at 150 already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like at the very least, we're not going to go back like we did last year, if that makes sense. Like I think we should have 300 base health for Warzone. I don't know that. Again, we didn't play Warzone. So, and we I would say this. I was like, yo, can I ask about Warzone? They're like, no. I was like, all right, my bad.
Yeah, they told us nothing. They're like, don't even bother asking.
Also, I think part of that is like, I don't think really there was, I can't recall a bunch of people from Raven, but to my knowledge, I think Raven's primarily the front runner on Warzone. So that was strictly for the 3 areas, which were campaign, zombies, and multi. So I'm sure at some point, if there's, you know, closer to the beta, I would imagine that there'll probably be more information related to that, or we have to wait till launch, you know, like.
Yeah.
So you said Raven's gonna be. Do you know that for a fact that like Raven?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I think literally all of them work on all of them, but
yeah.
So it's kind of hard to tell. But I feel like Raven's been like more in control
like maybe
of that element.
They'll be the ones that are kind of like tuning the weapons for Warzone specifically, like when the time comes.
I think I've seen a blog that like Raven. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's like Raven is like the one overseeing Warzone. Like, and then unless I'm faded, I don't have intel or anything like that. But like, I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. But again, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, I would like that because especially like at near the end of Caldera, Raven was like very responsive with, you know, making changes that, you know, we kind of were advocating for. So.
We know how Raven is when it comes to Warzone. They are the ones who added the stims shots. They gave us all the crazy stuff back in Caldera at the end of Caldera, sped it up. Like again, like they helped out a lot this year at the end of this year to kind of give us back like a lot of the things. So if that is true, if Raven Software is kind of like overseeing and like they, let's say Treyarch, Sledgehammer, and Activision keep like obviously 3-year cycle, and then Raven is kind of overseeing Warzone. I'm kind of happy with that because they've done a great job in my opinion with Warzone over the last couple of years. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. What was it? Was it Red Dots?
The Red Dots or the perk?
Ninja perk. Listen, okay, I am super hyped for Ninja perk in multiplayer. I think that is huge. We've been wanting this since forever. Black Ops 3 was like that, and like a sound whoring has been like whack for the like even right now it's bad. It's horrible.
I love having Ninja as a perk for S&D because that like S&D. Back when I played, that was Ninja was always a perk, and it's just like I'll just talk for S&D specifically. Ninja as a perk is just so nice because it allows like without Ninja, it's so hard to like for someone to kind of play the role of like a flanker or like, you know, a lurker to try to get like entry picks. Like you can't really do that without Ninja. So I personally think S&D plays out way better with Ninja being a perk.
Yeah, another thing too is I feel like with the whole loudness EQ and stuff, a lot of times you could just sit in a corner and just hear stuff. And I feel like now that you have Ninja, you know people could be running and you're forced to move out and pre-aim at least something, you know, so you're not just sat in a corner listening to the bomb from like 100 meters away. So I think it just suits how S&D is supposed to be played out, forces everyone kind of to move around a little bit. I think it's gonna be super fun.
Yeah, I mean, going forward, look, again, it's great for multiplayer, but I am terrified of that in Warzone because like right now we struggle significantly. Everybody, we know how bad Dead Silence, the what's the thing called? The equipment?
Field upgrade?
Yeah, field upgrade. There you go.
Stealth? Yeah. No, you're talking about that one.
Just in general, like Dead Silence, everybody hates Dead Silence as a field upgrade. Going into Warzone when people hated it. So now if it's a perk and you can do that no matter what, like it definitely belongs in multiplayer, but I think keep that as far away from Warzone as possible. Again, and that definitely is possible because we've seen so many perks have different effects between multiplayer and Warzone.
Yep.
A scavenger, it was the same way. But already people complain so much about audio in the game for Warzone. Now we're going to add Ninja to that. You know?
No, I definitely agree with you. I mean, it's crazy how like even right now in Warzone right now, there like Dead Silence exists, but like no one even bothers like picking it up or using it. I can't even remember the last time I died to Dead Silence.
We got Dead
Silence.
Silence.
Maybe I don't even know.
Yeah.
Maybe I assume somebody.
There's a lot of other
but
like important stuff to hold. Like if I have a flare or Dead Silence, I'm taking a flare. Like
that's the point I was gonna make right now is that like a lot of times people get obsessed with the perk side of it. Like why do people care about the perk? But it also like has that domino effect because you do have to sacrifice something else if you're gonna grab that perk, especially if once we see the perks laid out, we could see what category it's in. If that's competing with Ghost, how many people are gonna run that over Ghost or vice versa? If that's competing with Fast Hands or like, you know, you kind of have to make these judgment calls of what like, do you value? And if they put it in the right spot, it forces you to have to pick and choose, which has a domino effect. So you can't have everything, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
It does create some sort of balance, because I do feel like a lot of times there's just a perk category that's insanely OP, and then there's just like I could see it. I could see it being in there and being some sort of balance to something else. But then again, I don't know. I've never played a BR that just has no footstep audio, so
Yeah.
I don't know how it actually plays out when we're in a game.
Yeah.
Like, especially the difference between pubs or a custom with no, like, if I'm
Yep.
playing against the best players in a world on on BR with no footsteps, I don't know how it plays out. So we'll just have to see, I guess.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest. I just would prefer it not even be in the game for Warzone.
yeah. For Warzone.
Yeah,
Warzone.
I think they'll be able to balance it. I think remember, even they removed Bird's Eye for a bit because it was
Yeah.
weird. So
Mhm.
like maybe they even do something like that where they're like, all right, this particular piece of gear, we're just not going to have it in our version of the Battle Royale, if those things even come over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? And I think we've been struggling with this for the last 3 years. It's like finding a balance between Warzone and multiplayer. And I think we've said this countless times. We should never sacrifice one for the other. Like they should be separate completely and then adjust accordingly, right? So I think if it's true that Raven Software is taking over the Warzone side of things, and that's the whole team dedicated to that, I think that's perfect. And that's literally how it should be, where we have a team focused on the multiplayer and a team focused on Warzone, right? So again, I think it's pretty cool. Even I wouldn't want it to be a field upgrade, but if we had to choose between a perk or a field upgrade, at least do a field upgrade, so that way people don't have unlimited dead silence.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then next is red dots, which I feel like, why was it taken out?
Red dots.
Well, they had to put in the compass, bro, you know?
Yeah, bro. Listen, man. Again, I think we've all said this, and everybody's been saying on Twitter, like, and I agree that it's like we did a complete 180 from last
Yeah.
year. It's a complete, all the changes that they did last year, they're bringing them back this year. It feels like a complete shift. I mean, I don't know.
This game was just a revert. It's just a revert, like, of everything we had before. I am really happy to see it back in. I'm also trying not to, I'm not trying to ride too hard, because like we had it every other year. I know they took it out once, no one liked it, so that's where it should be. I'm happy it's there. That's really all I got to say about it.
Yeah, I think it's just odd design to not have it, considering out of the 20 years of COD, pretty much we've had it in almost all of
Yeah.
them. 2019, we were going to launch without a mini map. Like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
the fuck?
Oh, that was
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember
Beta
that.
1 of that weekend, and when we played it early, there was no mini map.
That was Infinity Ward,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the outrage was so loud that they changed it from weekend 1 to weekend 2.
I remember that.
So PC and Xbox, even though it's crossplay, they never played the game without the mini map. And then
Okay.
so then obviously we got it back in Cold War. Vanguard, we had this weird radar perk thing. You had to equip a perk to get it normally. And then obviously with the current iteration, they went back because the same studio. And then now they're like,
it seems like they've been trying for years. to
trying,
just
bro.
Figure out some
they're
way
trying, bro.
See, like Infinity Ward, see, I agree that every dev team does things well. Like certain, like Treyarch is very good at gameplay, but like the graphics don't expect anything crazy. And it's vice versa for Infinity Ward. It's like their graphics are insane. But I mean, obviously we saw the gameplay, and it's like it's been super dumbed down, right? And so yeah, very underwhelming. So I mean, yeah, going forward, I would hope that their next COD, they're like, all right, we kind of know what they want now. Let's, what do you think about this? I have this opinion when it comes to movement. We'll get into the movement side of things, but I feel like we should have a base movement that doesn't change, and we just add to the movement across 3-4 years, whatever. Like, don't change the movement for 3 years. Find something that we all like, that everybody loves, the community, casuals, and competitive people like, and then don't change that for the next 3-4 years, and keep it, and just like add to the game, like kind of like somebody said it yesterday, that they're kind of shifting more towards a what'd you say, JGOD? They're shifting to more live service. Yeah, live service. Was that you?
Yeah. We were talking about it. Yeah. During the thing, we were talking about it. I don't know who we were talking about it with, but yeah.
Oh, it was during the watch party.
Yeah, during the watch party. Yeah, we're just basically talking about Call of Duty. I think their plan eventually would be to just be a live service where we have one good game, and then it just continues year over year. The same way there's games like League of Legends. It's the same damn game for 20 years or however long it's been out. You know what I mean? It's literally the same game. They just add new legends or whatever you want to call them. I don't know. Yeah. Same thing with like Apex Legends. Since it dropped, it's been the same game, but it's drastically different than when it first came out. So games can evolve over time. They can make updates.
Fortnite, etc.
And they could still make mistakes. Like their entire season last year or last season they had was a flop, I think, for ranked play. So even though they're like 4 years deep into their game, they could still mess up, and that's okay. They can rebound though, because the new update can change everything. So I think the same thing. COD eventually, I think, wants to get there, but $70 a year is still too much money, I think.
Hey, listen, Black Cell's been selling, so hey. Switch it over.
I've been buying it. Dude, that thing will come out. I'll be like, I ain't buying this shit. And I'm like, oh, look, here's a variant I like. And I end up buying it. Just like, you said you weren't going to buy it. I'm like,
you're like, fuck.
They get you, bro. They get you.
I mean, hey, listen, anything to progress towards that live service game, I think ultimately would be the best. I feel like, again, we talked about this before. I feel like Call of Duty is they're leaving so much money on the table, and maybe this is why they changed the perk system to boots to gloves, because I can see half a year from now there being boots and gloves that you can buy at the store and things like that, right? So I don't know. We still can't buy gliders, like.
I feel like there is some missing stuff. I think they could definitely sell, and like like even individually too. Like I don't know how the whole I'm still iffy on the whole bundles, because sometimes there's like one thing I want in the pack, but I don't buy it because I don't want to spend $20 on one of the items. True. So I don't know if it's more worth for them, to just include everything together, or if it would be more worth to do stuff separately. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I feel like if they did it a la carte and they charged less, they can check patterns a little bit better, what's valuable, and then put all their resources into that. Because when you're buying the bundle, like you said, you might only want the optic or the skin or the sticker or whatever, but they won't know that because you're buying the bundle. But they only sold the sticker, and then all of a sudden there's like, all right, this sticker sells 500% higher than all the other stickers. Okay, let's make more of these stickers. I don't know. Maybe they have data on the back end, but they can tell what people are equipping, I guess, right?
That's true. Maybe they have some type of analytic. And then lastly, what was the last one? We did
map voting.
Map voting. Yeah, voting. I think that's cool. Like, obviously that's great. I don't know how it's going to work as far as our party's going to disband. I'm assuming they will. I don't think they'll go that far as to go back to no party disbanding. But map voting is something that a lot of people have wanted for so long when it comes to multiplayer. And again, all of these things that we just talked about should be staples in COD. And going forward, if anybody at any other development team is listening, or even Activision's like, hey, like, you know what the community wants. And I think the more players you have, the more you will sell, right? Like, so let's make a good game and keep making the black cells, keep making the bundles, and I'm sure people are gonna buy it. But of course, like, it starts with making a good game first. And I think I'm actually excited to play Modern Warfare. Like, normally for us, right? Can you tell me if you guys agree? The game comes out and we're like, damn it, we gotta wait a whole month until Warzone comes out. Like, let's just get the camos. Like, it's not that fun. It gets repetitive. I don't know if it's the nostalgia speaking, but I'm actually kind of excited for that month of grinding camos, and I don't feel like it'll get boring. That's just my opinion. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think it's gonna be super fun. Like, first month, one, competitive. Like, I'm always doing that type of stuff, like S&D tourneys and stuff like that. But just something about playing on the MWIII maps. I'm hoping it's gonna give me that nostalgic feeling from back in the day. Yep. And like with the map voting too, like you can kind of have a preference of what maps you're playing. So I'm not stuck playing the worst map in the game if it gets picked.
You don't like Border Crossing, bro?
No. That map's good. But
going off what he said, I actually when MW2 dropped, I don't even think I touched multiplayer, to be honest. I didn't really have any interest in it, honestly. But for MW3, that's definitely changing. I'm a lot more excited to play it, just because I think just the base game itself is going to be a lot better with the movement changes and everything else. And definitely gonna camo grind this time. And I think S&D. Like, I'm gonna be really excited to play S&D with Ninja perks. Yeah. And also going back to the maps, the OG maps. I don't know if we're still talking about this, but
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
it's going to be great to play a lot of these OG MW2 maps because, like you said, there's probably a ton of people that play COD now that didn't play back then. So for those people, it'll be brand new. But even for the people that did play those maps way back in the day, it'll be nice to just see a little refreshed version of it, you know, with updated graphics and all of that. And on top of that, big one will be people that love the newer game modes like Hardpoint. Like the thing is, one thing to remember is way back in the OG MW2, Hardpoint didn't even exist as a game mode. So it's going to be
KC as well. There's a few others, but yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see how they implement Hardpoint into these OG maps that never had Hardpoint originally. And I think a lot of people will probably love it.
Ooh, or some like Infected too. Something like that. We didn't have that back in MW2. That'd be cool.
I mean, that's a big thing.
Prop hunt would go hard.
The other part too. The other part too with that, just on top of that, is I think with all the movement changes, like inherently the movement's going to be faster than it was back then too. Because all we had was the standard, and then you could get a sprint, and it was limited unless you had like marathon or something like that. Or lightweight, like you couldn't do it all. But this, like, essentially you get unlimited sprint. Your attack sprint reloads, you know, comes back faster. And if they're using the exact same like maps to scale, like you're gonna be able to get around the maps faster. They're just gonna play probably faster than they did back then. You're gonna be able to probably mantle stuff that you probably couldn't because of jump heights, or angles. Like, I don't know. It's just gonna be a lot different in a good way. So we'll have to kind of see how those play.
I would assume that they're going to scale the maps accordingly, because like if you think about it, like, you don't think so? I think they would. Like I think they were going to make.
Talk to the lady, bro.
Wait.
But that's they said they basically copied the maps, bro, and then they had to build them from the ground up, but they used the same layouts.
Wait, I'm so confused now.
Wasn't that in the presentation?
Yeah.
I thought
it was in the presentation, but then when we talked to the one of the ladies who was in charge, she kind of confirmed that basically they used the same layouts.
I thought it was the opposite.
No.
I could have sworn. You know
what? Was a 1-to-1.
So the dev time still took as long as it takes to make the map. They just didn't have to do as much designing because the blueprint's already there. Then they had build off of it.
That's dumb. They're saying W leaker.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember because we talked to them for a minute.
They said that they might adjust some of the sight lines because maybe it was like broken or something back then, but then they can patch it with like you weren't supposed to be able to see through a window a certain angle or something like that.
I'm not gonna say anything before, but I remember it was the opposite. That that she said that it was
fine in the blog.
Yeah. That's what I remember, is that it's not like it is 1-to-1, but they adjusted certain things for the movement, to compensate for the movement.
What do you mean adjusted certain things?
You know,
like
I'm not gonna fuck. You know what? Forget it, bro. Maybe
I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's 1-to-1. I'm pretty sure it's 1-to-1.
It's gonna be like identical.
1-to-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I remember something completely different. Maybe, I don't know. I'm faded then. But okay, let's move on, bro. Let's move on before I fucking get a text, bro. Okay, going forward now, let's talk about what everybody is here for. Yes, I know. I've been seeing it in the chat. I know you guys are like are yelling at us. Let's talk about movement. This is what everybody's worried about and everybody's concerned about. I think, Huskerrs. I think Modern Warfare 2019 Huskerrs is back, bro. Oh, Aydan, oh, shit, man. All right, let's go. I have the PowerPoint with me right now. Overall,
one of the things that they led into it before they showed us the slide where everyone was like, oh my God, thank God they're changing everything, was that basically when they looked at the game, they wanted to make things less restrictive and their movement more responsive. That was kind of like what led to every change. So when you think of reload canceling, well, the stage reloading, does that feel restrictive or not? It definitely does. So the less restrictive thing to do would be allowed for that. So a lot of those design decisions, and probably ones that weren't even in our presentation that I hope will eventually be even improved upon, were to fit into that narrative that they want to make the game less restrictive and more responsive.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so everything that they were saying, and this is like one of the biggest things that they were saying, is they do not want to restrict you. They do not want to make you feel delayed. They do not want to make you feel like you have a 20-pound weight in vest. They literally said that. I remember in the presentation, they said, our goal is to not make you feel like you can't do what you want to do. If there is if in your brain you want to do something and the game does not allow you to do that, that is something that they should work on, right? So again, it seems like based off the PowerPoints, right? Sledgehammer is really listening to the community and they want something. I've always said this. If you want to play slow, you can play slow. You can hold the pre-aim and you're going to win your gunfight if you can shoot straight. But again, if you get two good players, one that have equal gun skill, one has movement, if one of them's holding the pre-aim and somebody has good movement, I think at the end of the day, the person holding the pre-aim is going to win. Now, if you're not the greatest player and you go up against somebody who has movement and you can't track, you're probably going to get smoked. But again, you are allowed to play both play styles. We had, in Modern Warfare 2019, we had Iron playing, the campy, really tactical. I don't want to say campy, right? I respect that gameplay for, it's whenever, for its purpose, right? And a lot of people like to play like that, and that's fine. But the thing is, back then, you could do that, right? He could play like that if you wanted to. But then we had Joe Diaz, doing this crackdown movement, and you could play like that if you want to, right? Now, we're all being forced to play very slow. And I think now they know, okay, let's stop restricting our players for the casual community. Because at the end of the day, bro, casuals don't even care. Truly, they don't. Casuals are not in the chat right now. That is not a casual by definition.
Actually, they do. When MW 2019, when I was playing with my dad, he's like, I fucking hate those people that slide cancel. They piss me off. Somebody cares, Hector. My dad.
They definitely do. But I'm saying, the average casual person doesn't even know what Twitch is, right? They're gonna play the game regardless, right? Obviously,
that's the thing is they'll still play the game if the base game is good. Casuals are still gonna play it, whether or not there's a movement skill gap.
I agree. So look, let's get into it. Basically, everything that they said is they don't want to restrict you. They want you to feel like you can do whatever you want. So I remember, you guys remember this? I remember they brought up the presentation, and the first thing that it said was, you can cancel any animation. And I remember everyone was like, yo, everyone was going crazy, and the energy in there was pretty nuts when they announced that. What was y'all's first initial thoughts when they said, when that slide came up, you can cancel anything?
I was super happy and super curious on what, can you cancel? Can you cancel grenades? Can you the reloading's huge. I feel like right now with the reloading, it's what is it? When you take the mag out or whatever, you're still, I died to that so many times. So it feels like you're out of the fight for 3 to 4 seconds right now. And hopefully with, the changes, you're going to always be able to be in the fight.
Yeah. What about you, Husky? Let me just add to this real quick. I think if anybody was nerfed, right, and I mean this in the most in a great way, was you, Huskers, during this last year. Was they took away your movement, and I saw a clip of you the other day. I was like, damn. I was like, I forgot Husky had it like that. No bullshit, right? And then they gave everybody buffed aim assist. They pack a punch that shit, right? So
that blew my fucking mind.
Yeah. So now,
no way.
Going back to Modern Warfare 2019, Huskers. I just want to throw it. I feel like, yo, you're about to get a huge buff, right? So,
dude, I hope so. I played Caldera 2 nights ago, I think, for an hour and a half, and I had a crazy game where I was just outplaying so many people with movement, and I was like, holy shit, dude! I really hope this comes back because, like you said, it's. I mean, it's tough. With quick movement and side canceling, it's tough because it's good for mouse players because a person with aim assist, if they're just shooting someone that's stationary with little movement, it's easier for them. But at the same time, it's also harder for mouse and key players to track somebody with cracked movement. So it's I don't know. But I would still rather err on the side of having fast movement and side canceling because at least when I'm playing pubs or something, when I'm not playing the top 0.0001% control players in the world, I'm still able to outplay with movement. So yeah, no, I'm definitely excited for that. I'd rather there be good movement than not, even if it might be harder in some situations to track somebody.
I'll be honest, you didn't have any problem, I feel like, in 2019. So I don't know.
No, dude, when I was locked in, yeah, I didn't miss. So.
JGOD, what did you? I know obviously a big part of what you do is content, right? Even with the movement being back, were you like really excited? Were you like, hell yeah, like I actually want to play again? Like,
yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. Like when I think of the game, even going back to 2019, like in my initial review, I was like, I don't know. Like a part of my content is to help people get better at the game. Like they removed the mini map. I'm supposed to just tell you to camp. My first Modern Warfare video is camping next to a claymore. That was like my #1 tip to get better. Like as a joke,
Really?
Meme of a video. That's my #1 video. That like my first one that I put out because like that's how awful the game experience was in my opinion. And they doubled down on it with the MW2. And I think this time around, going back to the camo grind with this is like something that I didn't stream the camo grinds. It's just because they're miserable experiences. I'll just be bitching about the game for like 99% of the time. Versus this, it actually feels like to a point where these changes are happening that way that it can be playable. It could be fun again.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like people think that we complain about the game because we think it like we want to be able to play it. I know some people do play it 10, 12 hours a day, but I want to enjoy playing it 10 to 12 hours a day. There's a big difference. Big difference on your mental. The chat vibe is different. Like comments on your videos. Like if people still play this game? Well, no, I don't think people do, but you're still commenting, but that's just how it goes, you know? It's like, I think everyone wants this new game to be good. And based off just that alone, it's not like these are the first time these features are being experienced. That's how I think I know that it's going to be good because we've experienced like 90% of the stuff. The only thing that's really new and original is the tax dance.
Yeah.
Like if we're being real, we've experienced like 90% of this stuff. We've been able to shoot immediately after sliding. We've been able to aim down sight, I think. Maybe not. But you know what I mean? Like 90% of like the features, they've been in one COD or another, which is good because that goes back to what they said originally is they wanted to capture the experiences that made COD good. And like they've essentially captured what the best things were. So even though there's like a leak that Stalker's a perk, like that's God tier. How long has it been since we've had something like that? And like I'll sacrifice any perk category. I don't care. I'm gonna run Stalker, you know? Like that's crazy, but we haven't had that. So they obviously captured that element and I could see how it could be fun. Even if you're not a good and I never get a nuke and I never go on a streak, I don't care. The game could still be fun.
Yeah. Like imagine having Stalker Pro and then slide canceling, ADSing, and then Stalker Pro strafing. Like there's so many possibilities, I feel like, going forward, right? But let's get into the actual specifics, right? So this is what it said on the PowerPoint when it talked about cancel anything. So, or movement. You can cancel your slide, which a lot of us, let's be honest, that's all we kind of wanted. But like, you know, Sledgehammer said, here's that and some more type shit.
And reload canceling.
Yeah, and reload canceling. So cancel sliding, reload canceling, faster mantling and mantle while sprinting, fire immediately after sliding, ADS while sliding perk, which is
crazy.
Yeah, okay. And then increase tac sprint durations per weapon class. So obviously, if you have an LMG, you slower attack, whatever, tac sprint. If you have an
uses
SMG,
more energy, essentially,
Yeah. And then increase strafing speeds and ADS movement speeds, the base. This is not Stalker, this is base, right? Remember, everything we're saying is base. Tac sprint recharges while sprinting automatically. So these are all things like base. Right, these are all base stuff.
And that last one's probably one of the more important ones because they did message out that the slide cancel does not reset your tac sprint. And people are like, what? But the reality is you didn't gain your tac sprint while sprinting before. So now you're going to get your tac sprint faster. It lasts longer. So it's like you don't really need the slide cancel or some weird ass melee or to hold your nade and put it back. You're not going to need to do any of that stuff if you're getting your tac sprint back, because the whole point of resetting the tac sprint so you can move around faster. So now
I never really realized that.
Fixing that, if you just sprint, like you just stay sprinting, you'll never get your tac sprint back.
Wow. Okay.
You have to break your sprint to be able to
so
sprint.
Some action that either like pull out a nade or jump or dive. That's a phenomenal change. I think
it's pretty cool. Yeah,
you can regenerate it while normal sprinting.
Yeah, it's like something I never thought about. I was never like, oh, like they should do that. So the fact that something they thought of and then introduced it. It's gonna be cool.
Well, and that goes back on our feedback, because the whole point of like we wanted to be able to have more movement. That was the whole point of tax printing. We just didn't want to destroy our controllers.
Yeah.
So now I think that gives you the ability where, or your keyboard somehow. But but yeah, I think that's the main thing, is you want to be able to get the mobility. So if your tax print lasts long enough, where like you're not going to just burn through it all and it comes back while you're sprinting, it's like, cool, you've solved everything.
I'm going to say this real quick, and obviously this is not leaking, but context clues, right? Like, this is all base, right? This is all things that I need you guys to really listen to what I'm saying. Everything that we just specified is base stuff. We're not including the new perk system to this. We're not even including tax stance to this, which we'll get into right now. So just remember, this is base like shit, right? If that makes sense. Again, this was on the PowerPoint, so I hope you guys understand, right? It's like, right. So now let's go
to add to the mantle thing. I'm pretty sure they removed the ledge hang.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it's faster. Because I think currently you have to decide. I'm pretty sure that's how the ledge. I don't think there's a ledge hang.
Okay, I don't even remember. I'll be honest. I don't remember, to be honest, playing it if there was a ledge hang. I feel like for multiplayer, like I'm not really trying to climb over things that much. So let's talk about before we even get into it, Aydan. Based off all of this, off the PowerPoint alone, cancel slide, cancel reload, faster balancing, faster ADS, faster strafe, everything we just got. Like, what are your honest thoughts right away? You saw that PowerPoint. What were you like? What's your head immediately go to?
I was hype. I think they're trying to find a mix between MW 2019, MW2, make everyone happy type deal. I'm pretty happy with what was presented on the PowerPoint. I'm not going to complain. Like I said, completely different until we play the game, because you don't know the percentages of things that are increased. Even now, like even with these gun changes, we don't know, like the new patch notes that came out, like I don't even know the percentage of like the guns that are getting changed. So I really, just based off the PowerPoint, we didn't know how much faster we're going to be going. So it's just one of those things. 1%. Yeah, 1%, 10%. So it's like,
I mean, we know what we can't say.
Yeah, we know what we can't say. So from a viewer perspective, for all the things we just told them, I mean, it looks pretty good just on paper.
Yeah. Huskerrs, what about you? Specific animations and stuff. What are you thinking?
I'm back. I'm back, baby. I'm gonna find some crazy ass mouse and key like movement mechanics. I'm gonna try to find a way that you fuckers can't do, and I'm gonna abuse the shit out of it.
I'm gonna say this.
I think there's already one in the playtest that.
I'm gonna say this. There was, you guys were doing, like, you guys were playing the game, right? I played one game only. The rest of the other games, I was in the back of the spawn trying to figure out cheese.
Oh, same.
And I found it. I found it. But yeah, man. So now so we went over every single little thing of like all the certain individual animations, like, and base speeds and all that stuff. The base stuff, right? Now that we can, I'm glad that we can talk about it. It was in the PowerPoint, but now we can talk about it a little bit more specifically. Let me see if I can show this.
I think there's also a bunch of other stuff that are like quality of life stuff that will come into the game that we like may have experienced but can't really talk about, that I think like could potentially help in a lot of areas as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, look at this. This is one of them, like tax stance. So this is in addition to your regular movement. This is like, does that make sense, right? So pretty much, because it's here, we can talk about it, right? So pretty much it's an in-between of aiming down sight and hip fire. It's pretty much, if you guys remember canted laser, it's pretty much like that, but your gun consistently stays in that. Yeah, what Aydan's doing. So what it is, you sacrifice accuracy for mobility. So I'll read this. This is from a Sledgehammer themselves. So pretty much, I'll read this to let everybody know. Tac stance balances mobility and accuracy, allowing for evasive maneuvers and aggressive engagement. It's available on most weapons, including those carried forward from Modern Warfare 2, and can be dynamically toggled anytime during gameplay. You can pretty much toggle this, have it sideways or regular, how you see fit. Right? And then it says, sliding has been enhanced with offensive capabilities. Read this right. Read the fine print. Sliding has been enhanced with offensive capabilities. By default, tac stance is allowed during a slide, and an equipable perk enables ADS precision. Additional tuning includes increased control over slide direction and the option to cancel the animation to get back onto your feet. I hope you guys are getting things right.
What's funny is I feel like that could be insanely broken for controller. Like imagine sliding, aiming, and that shit just grabs your aim onto the person. Because you're gonna slide into a room, it's just gonna hook, bro, and you're not gonna miss.
I think you have to remember that, like, there's gonna be a big skill gap. Not even that. It's switching between tac stance and regular consistency.
Oh, that's with the perk. Yeah. I think it's just going to be a new skill gap. I think there's certain things, because I think that concept, if you remember in Vanguard, they had the blind fire mechanic.
Oh yeah.
That looks the same. Essentially, it looks the same. So they've evolved it so now you can move essentially everywhere. Blind firing almost in a way.
Kinda. It's more canted laser. Yeah. So like now that on top of all the base stuff that they're adding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you take all the different base stuff, and especially the perk we talked about, being able to ADS while sliding, having that tac stance on, there's a lot of variables that I think we're gonna see in this COD that we don't know what to expect yet. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of different stuff you can do. All I'm gonna say is I'm excited to see Shotzi play in the CDL this year. We're gonna be seeing some shit this year, bro.
Yeah, dude, I think the skill gap is gonna go up exponentially, and I would hope that if this movement is well received. Sorry,
that's what I was gonna say too, because a side note with the CDL is because this is the first time the guns are moving forward. I wonder if they're still gonna use like the TAC 56 VASNAV or new guns. Like that's kind of a weird, interesting choice. With the carryover forward. But that's just
again, it's gonna. I was talking to them about this too, and I was saying, like, with the whole 16 maps being like the whole OG maps. Obviously, they're going to have to make, because Hardpoint wasn't around back then, but now they're going to have to redo the whole maps for Hardpoint. And I think they have a lot bigger pool to choose from. And it's going to be really cool, because I think a lot more of the casual community is going to tune in and watch them play for the nostalgia factor, because a lot of people didn't play back in the day. And now they're like, oh, shoot, I played that when I was, 8 years old, 7 years old. Like, let me watch that now. So I think they're going to bring a lot more eyes to the CDL. And genuinely, I think that's huge for the scene. And regardless if it's quote unquote competitive, even Shotzi, I was talking to Shotzi about it, and Shotzi was like, honestly, like sometimes like pros, and he says he gets a lot of hate for this, but he's like, sometimes pros get too competitive and want to make things very like just strictly competitive. But a lot of the times he's like, you need a skill gap, you need movement, you need all these things, so that way to make it interesting. People don't want to watch like people pre-aim all the time, like, and he said something, I was like, fuck, I love you, bro. He was like, the only people that complain about movement are shitters. He's like, people who he's like, obviously he's talking about, like, he's saying that in the CDL, he's like, people who have horrible movement in the CDL complain about it. So I mean, I agree with him. I think it a lot right now. Let's be honest. Even regardless of like gameplay, right? Watching, like, the numbers from last year to this year are down bad, and the reason being is because everybody's fucking like game looks the same. Everybody's gameplay looks the same, right? For the most part, right? For the most part, as opposed to, you go back Modern Warfare 2019. Oh, this guy's nasty. Like, this guy's movement's crazy. Like, everybody had a different style of play. And I think
different style. Yeah. And I always feel like there is something to learn, like watching a different person. Like, I could watch Husk learn something. I could watch Biffle learn something, I feel like you don't have, besides like maybe a jump spot. Like, that's really,
that's the only thing now is, oh, that was a weird jump spot. Cool.
Yeah.
Besides that, there's not much to like learn in this game, and that all comes down to skill gap and stuff. So, like I said, hopefully with more variables and stuff, there's more stuff to learn, more stuff to do. Be better all around.
So hopefully, I mean, again, there's that whole speculation if CDL is going to YouTube or not. But you know, I hope they you know, Twitch has been amazing for them over the course of the last year, and I promise you, it's not because of the game. Their numbers are through the roof, and it's not because of the game. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, man. So going forward, boys, there is obviously the perk system. We'll talk about that real quick. Can you guys correct me if I'm wrong or not correct me if I'm wrong, but let me know which one I'm missing. But now perks are going to be based off of equipment. How this is going to play in Warzone is kind of a question mark. But pretty much gear. Yeah, gear. Sorry. So pretty much like gloves, boots, vest, and what was the last one? There was a fourth one. That was 4 things.
Well, no, it was different. It was
like gear, right?
It was gear. Yeah. What happens is like a modified pick 10. So what happens is there might be trade-offs where some pieces of gear will have an opportunity to equip an extra piece of gear. Oh. And then other ones you might have to only rock 3 pieces of gear. And then because one of the pieces of gear is super powerful, you don't get a 4th piece of gear. But maybe you get double tactical or maybe you get double lethal. I think that's kind of essentially how it works. And then your weapons are, you get your 5 attachments and whatever the hell you want to do on those. I believe that's how they're keeping it. Okay. Because they got to carry the old guns forward, so it has to just like plug in.
Yeah. So they said it's boots, gloves, vest, and gear. So like I thought gear was like the whole umbrella, but it's not. It's a separate thing. So I mean, again, remember, base stuff does not include any of this. You know. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, this is an example that they gave us. Gloves, for example, if you want fast hands, if you want to be able to reload faster or bring up your gun ADS faster, you use your hands. If you want to be able to change your gloves or whatever, if you want to be able to strafe quicker or whatever, tack sprint longer, whatever the case may be, I don't know, you would use boots, right? So, like, that's kind of the progression going forward.
Yep.
What do y'all think about that system as opposed to the OG perk system?
I think one of the main things when it went from Warzone 1 to Warzone 2 is like in Warzone 1, you could do like strafe build. Like you could kind of be more versatile. You could have, you know, a quick ADS build or a strafe build or one that just runs fast. And I think these perks are going to help you kind of get back towards that, because I feel like we're missing a lot of that right now. You can't really strafe. You're just kind of restricted. So I'm hoping that takes us to kind of where we were in 2019.
What about you, Husky?
Yeah. Anything that can give people the flexibility to choose like what they want to, you know, how they want to play, I think is a good thing. Because yeah, like right now everyone kind of just plays the same. Like there's no, like with the current perks and everything, you know, everyone uses the same exact perks pretty much and uses the same exact attachments. So if we can have, if with, you know, the variety of perks that are going to be in the new one, if they're, you know, different groups of perks you can use for different play styles where like they actually are all viable, like then that'll just be nice. So, you know, people just have the options to use whatever group of perks they want.
So this is I feel a lot of people not liking it, and I get it. It's change, it's different, but at the end of the day, it's not any different than what we have right now. All it is, it's just called something different. If anything, we're getting an extra perk slot, like as opposed to 3, it would, or even actually right now we have 4 actually, but one's like what is it called that we have right now? Like an enhanced or a super perk,
the ultimate perk.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing, but it's just called something different. I think it'd be cool because, like, for example, at least I think in Warzone, 1, I think it's going to add ability for cosmetics. You can change things up if you wanted to. And then 2, for Warzone, imagine going and finding boots on the rack and like you just grab them and then like now you have fucking fast attacks, or you find gloves and now you have fast hands. Like, my opinion, I feel like it's going to be a W. But again, we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out when it comes to Warzone. But I don't think there's any difference when it comes to the actual perks. It's literally just called something different.
Yeah, I think it is very similar. I think it is different in a way because like right now, like we could look at the ultimate perk and we probably weight Bird's Eye probably up at the top somewhere, maybe Ghost. But like the other perks, it's not very close. I think with the opportunity to have like certain perks be more valuable, and then it gives you and then you can equip an extra perk because that's how valuable it is. or you get a lesser quality perk and then you get access to a 4th perk. I think that adds in variety of builds, because for you might like see the value in a perk differently based off your playstyle, and I think that'll add to more variety, because like Aydan said, we all use the same stuff.
Yeah, there's so many different like. Never mind. Yeah, okay, but again, like this. Sorry, I almost tweaked. Nah, they're fucking. I'm about to get a text. Anyways, I saw one in this here. So because it does say it in the Sledgehammer post and it's on the notes here for the PowerPoint, a lot of people were asking about tuning. So they said you can tune your guns for tac stance. So I'm not leaking anything. It's in the PowerPoint and it's in the thing. Tuning will be returning. For those of y'all wondering.
People were like, JGOD leaked it. I was like, I did not leak that.
Yeah, it's already been in everywhere in the PowerPoints and stuff like that. So I know that's a big thing that a lot of people hate. But obviously we don't want that. But it is what it is. I think based off everything we've seen, if all we have to deal with is tuning, hey, I'm up. Like that's our downside.
I don't mind. I don't mind tuning. I think it adds to. I think the issue is like when people want to, at least for my understanding, is when people want to like copy your build or whatever. Like that's so annoying. You got to type it in all manually. I know from I play Hearthstone. It's a card game. You can just copy decks and stuff. Like if there's some way people could just if you could post it to your profile or share it somehow with a copy code. I think that'd be super clutch. I've gotten so used to the tuning now, I just do it instantly. Like I know right away, but for a casual player, I could understand you have you don't know So experience definitely helps me with tuning now, but I'm indifferent. Either way, I don't really mind.
Yeah, I get it. It's annoying, but it's, at least for me personally, my perspective, it's not that big of a deal. I wish it wasn't there, because like it's, again, if they gave us a code to copy our loadout to send it to our chat, that'd be cool. But what were you gonna say, JGOD? I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know what you're going to talk about next, but I was going to say if you had any negatives
from the PowerPoint, any negatives?
Because I have one negative.
From the PowerPoint, right?
From the PowerPoint, yeah. Mine's more of an omission from the PowerPoint. The fact that it's not in there, I think that's a bad thing. But
I don't necessarily.
Do you guys have any negatives from the PowerPoint?
I don't have a question mark.
See that you would have liked to see,
from the gameplay,
or something you saw,
from
maybe
PowerPoint.
like, I don't know how that. I don't think that's. I don't know if that'll be good, because obviously all we talked about is positive. So the one that I will talk about is in the PowerPoint we had nothing about the interaction of water and firing your weapon. Obviously the old maps do not have water, so obviously you wouldn't have to talk about these features. But that's like one feature that I hope gets changed. And maybe when we get more information with integration and how all that stuff's going to work, because we literally know nothing, maybe they'll be like, oh, by the way, you can fire your weapons underwater. That'd be like good to hear. But that's the only thing where I'm like, but that's nitpicky. Yeah. Like at this point, you know what I mean? Like I enjoyed everything, but
I agree with that. And I think a lot of people hate the water cheese, but like it is what it is. They want to keep adding it. But I think the question mark for me that obviously it's not going to be found now, even if I asked it, they would have answered it, was just like, okay, will the movement transfer to Warzone? And I'm like, I feel I have no intel. This is not me leaking nothing. But I think it would be the biggest downfall of Call of Duty ever, or Warzone ever, if they don't add this movement. So I'm pretty sure. I feel like I can bet that it will be this movement.
I feel like the backlash should be so hard, bro.
Dude, people would, they wouldn't do that. In my opinion, I would.
My assumption, like you said, we actually don't know. Like none of us actually know. But my assumption would be that the next iteration of Warzone, the next Warzone map, whatever happens after MW3 drops, they're going to be carrying over the exact game of MW3 to Warzone.
Charlie,
like
Intel
the way
confirmed.
Movement and everything.
That's what my chat said too, but I looked through Charlie's tweets, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, if you guys have something for us to look at, let us know, because I didn't know that. That'd be sick, obviously. That's my only, obviously we've learned over the last 4 or 5 years to be super skeptical and not get too excited, and exactly why I think all of us. Go ahead.
It's also to what extent, right? Like, is it just the base movement, base this, base that, or is the gear actually coming too?
Yeah.
Or nothing at all, or all of it, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think obviously, I think everything's going to transfer. But if it doesn't, it would be the biggest missed opportunity ever. And if we have to stick with this movement, we're chalked. I think I got a tweet.
I'm
Blue,
a
can you DM it to
multiplayer
me?
gamer next year then, bro.
With that, my assumption is that, you know, whenever this new Warzone map and all that comes out, like I'm guessing that Warzone is going to be moved to like the Modern Warfare 3 launcher.
Yes, I think they said that somewhere. Look, so I do have the tweet right now. The movement will carry over to Warzone when Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone integrate later this year. Which
he replied to something.
he replied to his
So not at
movement
launch,
tweet. Yeah. So that's why, like when it integrates, because there's no Warzone
in
at launch.
December, the rumor, right? That's the date.
Yeah, December. So I think thank God. That was my only like big concern, because I wanted to ask that, and obviously they didn't let me. But where he got his intel, I'm just that's a W regardless.
Hey,
so
he gets the leak.
Yeah. So again, I think everything we just talked about for the last hour is based off the PowerPoint alone, and I think everybody here manage your expectations, because again, you see us talking. We obviously are pretty. The thing that's different from before is we played it. That's the biggest difference from, let's say, last time when they told us, the devs are like, oh, we're going to change movement. And we were all hyped, but we never played it. And then we get the game and it's horrible. I think now the difference is we actually played it. So you can see us obviously a little bit happy. Manage your expectations, because again, this is a pre-alpha. This is a pre-alpha.
And even the build we played was older. The build we played was older.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
They told us that, I was like, yo, I think you should change this, or I think this should be like added. And they were like, oh, don't worry, we added that. The build was already done. We changed that already, but we couldn't give you guys that build because we just changed that like 3 days ago.
Yeah, part of the I don't know how much we could talk on that, but part of that part is that we technically, like, our allotted play time was like 90 minutes, right? So they wanted to make sure the build was as stable as possible, and a new build is generally going to crash and have bugs because they're introducing new stuff and changing stuff. So the build we played was older, like a safe build that they know that in the 90 minutes you're playing 90 minutes. So that's basically to the extent. So however old that build was, it was a stable build. So we played. I didn't have any crashes, and I don't know what we could talk to beyond that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, obviously, I am excited. We come from Modern Warfare 2 to this, based off everything we've seen in the presentation. Like, it's a huge difference. It's a complete 180. So nobody was able to record footage, just so everybody's aware. But I think everybody's just gonna have to wait for.
And that's also not uncommon, because last year we played it in June. Some of us, we couldn't record. We couldn't even say that we played it then.
Yeah.
And then eventually they kind of have a schedule what they're going to do with their marketing. Normally you get campaign trailer, which is what we did. Just as today, we had the campaign trailer in the event. And then later on, we get like a teaser, like a little tiny weird teaser of multiplayer generally. And then you get a multiplayer campaign or multiplayer trailer, and then we'll have a zombies probably last. This is kind of what they do every year, people. You say that like, oh, you guys hype it up every year. Well, you should know the marketing schedule by now.
Yeah.
Bro,
Which is funny because last year when you played the game early, you guys couldn't tell anybody, right, that you guys played it early?
No, we didn't talk about it until like COD Next or something.
Yeah. So I mean, boys,
I was like, when does these NDAs expire, bro? They're like, they don't.
Like, no, you can't say it. Yeah. I remember they literally told me that they tried reloading and they're like, yo, I can't reload cancel, and that they were like, oh no, that's a new feature. Like, and they were like, nah, bruh. But boys, I mean, I think we kind of covered everything of the PowerPoint and the presentation that went to. Honestly, I said this in my YouTube video. I said that regardless of them inviting me over and having us play test it, if I didn't like it, I'm not going to praise it. I'm not going to say, like, I'm not going to act like I like it, because they won't invite me anymore. I think that's the biggest bullshit like ever, that people are like, oh, if you talk shit about it, you're not coming. At least for me, my experience is it don't fucking matter. I've always tried to give my honest opinion when it comes to this kind of stuff. So at least for me, if it was bad, I would do the same thing I did for COD Next, and I'd be like, yo,
Yeah,
It's
like
chalk.
we'd be
Chalk.
respectful, but
Yeah.
yeah, you just gotta tell them how it is, honestly. And
Yeah.
I would hope that they would respect, creators like us being honest about the game.
Yeah.
If we actually didn't like it or if we thought it wasn't a good idea that they did XYZ. So
Which I think they kind of came back to help us here because we were super vocal last year, and I'm sure Sledgehammer was able to get that data and be like, you know what, they hate this. Like, thank God this is the direction that we're going in. I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah.
All right, Aydan. Well, I think it kind of wraps it up. Guys, Aydan, Huskerrs, JGOD, any last minute things that we didn't talk about that you guys think we got to cover, or you think we're okay? Let me know.
I mean, just based off the PowerPoint, because that's the only thing we can comment on, then yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything.
PowerPoint warriors today, buddy.
I definitely think once the beta comes out, you guys will obviously be able to tell everything about it. And then we can make videos about like the differences between what we played and the beta and stuff like that. So again, manage your expectations because you never know, they could pull last year again and have the beta be amazing and then the game comes out and it's horrible. So manage your expectations, but obviously again, I am pretty pleased based off what I'm hearing, or what we, So
I'm with you.
I'm pretty pleased. So JGOD, anything else to conclude, brother?
No, I'm good. I'm ready.
Huskerrs, Aydan, anything else?
No,
shit.
it's gonna be a long 3 months, but I'm ready.
Hold on,
Hey, I got you with the outro.
do it,
I got you
Aydan.
with the
Go
outro.
ahead.
Listen, from everything we've heard, this is a movement-based season. So we have to do an outro to fit the PowerPoint.
This man, no, I love it. Oh shit. Love that.
Damn, that hurt my knee. I got rug burn, buddy.
Damn.
Hey, you have it here first. Aydan said movement is back. It's crazy. That's what he said right now with that sliding stuff. You know what I'm saying? But guys, thank you guys for tuning into the Pullze Check podcast. Thank you, Aydan. Thank you, Huskerrs. Thank you, JGOD, for coming on. Today was an eventful day, to say the least, man. Everybody at home, we'll catch you guys in the next one, and I promise you, we'll keep you updated on everything. All right? Later, guys. Peace.
All right, thank you.
Later.
Peace.
Later, baby.